Hello and welcome to the Swan Song Project Podcast. My name is Ben Buddy Slack and I'm the founder of the Swan Song Project. We're a charity that helps people facing the end of their lives or dealing with bereavement to write and record their own original songs. If you'd like to find out more about the charity, ways you might support us, or if you or someone you know might be interested in writing a song with us, you can check out our website, which is swansongproject.co.uk, and follow us on the various social media platforms that will all be tagged in the description of this episode. The podcast features songwriters, and we talk about one of their songs to tell us a bit about how they wrote it. They share us a songwriting tip that might be useful for other songwriters, and we also talk about songs meaningful to them in some way relating to bereavement. This episode features James Newbigging from the Marsicans, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, today I'm here with James Newbigging from the Marsicans. Thanks for joining me, James.
No worries, thank you for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you. If you've seen or listened to these podcasts before, you'll know we're dealing with three parts. First, we're going to have one of my guest songs. We're going to talk a little bit about how they wrote that. Then section 2, James is going to share with us a songwriting tip. And then section 3, we're going to talk about songs meaningful to James in some way relating to bereavement. So I'll ask you to introduce your song for us, please, James.
Yeah, this is a song off our debut album, Ursa Major, and it's called Sunday.
One that
Okay, brilliant. So that was Sunday by the Marsicans. Yeah, it's a cool track, and man, watching the video made me feel nostalgic for gigs.
Oh man, like yeah. We released that song after everything happened,
Yeah.
and we couldn't. We were meant to be going out to Texas to film a video for it.
Jeez.
Well, not just for that. We were going to do South by Southwest, but we had these plans like we were going to hire a car and go film this video and all this stuff. So we're like, oh, okay, what can we do? And then we had loads of footage from our show at Leeds Stylus from end of last year. And we just thought, like, it was just the song kind of suits that kind of, just feel good, like having a good time. And when we put it out, everyone was kind of thinking, oh, it kind of came at a nice time where everyone was just starting to miss gigs. And it was a bit of a, for us and general fans watching, it was a bit of a, like, oh, that's nice to see rooms full of people having a good time. Remember those days?
Yeah, man, it was, when I watched it at first, I was just like, I miss that so much.
But to me, there's a lost video somewhere of we'd have been out middle of the desert in America with a car. We had all the plans in the world. Maybe we'll have to do it for another song.
I was just reading about that as well. So you were going to go to the South by Southwest Festival, weren't you? Which, for anyone listening who might not know about it, it's a big festival, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like international. It's a lot of focus on new bands and breaking bands. So we've wanted to play that for years, and we had it all lined up. And it was kind of that was pulled. And then that was kind of a big, oh, okay, this must be quite serious then. Because at that point, obviously, everyone knew what was going on around the world, but it was still a bit like, oh, it's not too bad, is it? Like, it's not going to be that bad. So when that got pulled, it was kind of the first, oh, okay, this might not be so straightforward this year.
Yeah. So was that around March, April time that was going to be?
Yeah, like mid-March, yeah. So
March, yeah.
We had to, but we actually were meant to, after the festival got pulled, another week we kept our flights because we were like, well, we'll just go out anyway to Austin. But then in that week, it all flipped.
That's when it started ramping up. Yeah, bad timing, man. Bad timing. But yeah, I mean, the album's done great. I think. What can you tell us about writing Sunday?
So that was originally it was when we booked for our last trip to North America. We went to Toronto in Canada, and that was like an incredible trip. And it kind of, the song started as like, basically just, I wanted to remember that trip. And it was just kind of detailing what we were doing a bit. So it starts off like landing, then it starts off with us in Toronto. Then it's us like going to Niagara Falls and like all this stuff. So like, it's basically just detailing our trip in Canada. But then it was like, I would say it's almost like two love songs in one. So like one of it's like, love song for this trip and like being with mates and like having the best time ever, but then it's also like when you're missing that person at home, like wherever you are, you're always going to miss that. Even if you're having the best time in the world, you're always going to be missing that person. So it's like, obviously I had the best time ever, but there's always part of you that's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like 2 in 1.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really interesting angle to take on it, isn't it? Because I guess that's probably a very common thing. I've certainly been in those situations where you're like, I'm having the best time, but yeah, like also missing someone and not wanting it to be like one or the other. Like you can't have a good time.
The best time I've ever had, like without the person that you love.
Yeah,
it's like you're always, that's not a bad thing, but like it's just that being aware of the two sides of it. But it was very fun to write, and we had a piano in our Airbnb where we were staying, so we kind of like doing little bits of it out there and stuff, and it changed quite a lot, but we knew it wanted to have just like a real laid back feel to it.
Nice. Yeah. Do you how long did it take you to write then? Was it go through multiple stages? And
well, so it kind of took a while because I knew I wanted to write the song before we went, so it was like I was like, oh, I want to write the song, but I'll wait to write it.
That was you. Did you have the idea that you wanted to write the song about the trip, but with this double meaning before you set off?
That kind of like came into it a bit later on. So like I had the idea before we went, but then obviously it was probably over a couple of months, but like not intensely writing it. It was just like I knew writing that song would take a couple of months because I needed to have been on the trip for one, and then also like how the reflections post, so like, I knew it'd take a while, but like you've got like I don't know. I've always got like notes on my phone that kind of just feed into like the next stuff. So it's all just a continuous thing.
Yeah, yeah. Do you do that with other ones where you've had like a concept that you want to write a song about a particular? It's quite a nice way of doing it, of like, especially when you've got a big experience like that.
I'd never done it that way before.
No?
It was kind of, it just felt like I knew I was probably going to write a song about it because it was one of the biggest things I'd ever done in my life, like flying to a different continent to play some shows. Like, it was a special thing for me. So I knew it was going to inform some song or other. So it was just kind of, I don't know. I think it's the only time I've ever done that as well. But it was just kind of, it was so obvious that I was going to probably write a song about it. I was like, well, I can see this one coming.
And how was Canada?
Oh, part of me's still there, I think, in my head. It was over 2 years ago now, but when you go somewhere and you just have the best time ever, and it was just, the weather was phenomenal. The people we met were just so lovely. It's an incredible city, and it was just like, the whole trip was just kind of like world beating, and it was just best 9 days ever. And it's what you're in a band for, just these experiences that you just think, well, I would never have had that if I wasn't in a band.
Yeah, I've never been. It's one of the places that's like top of my list of like, if I had dream choices to places to go, Canada's up there.
I'd love to see all the kind of just the wilderness of Canada, because we played like, it was like a big international festival thing, but there was loads of bands from Canada there, and there was a band that had driven, I think it was 36 hours. Jeez. And it was like, wow, Canada is bloody, I knew it was massive, but I'm like, you've driven 36 hours. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Oh, it's mad.
Was it just one show that you went for? Did you have a few shows?
We had a couple, but they were both in Toronto, so cool. It was kind of like a South by Southwest thing, but in Canada, basically.
Nice. Do you have a process with, how long's Marsicans been going now? It's quite a while, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, as we are now, we've kind of been through like various lineups, and also like when we were doing it earlier, kind of in our careers, it almost wasn't a career. We were kind of like finding our feet. So there were a bit of that kind of working out how to play an instrument time and all that stuff. But yeah, like 5 years-ish is what we are now.
Nice. And have you got like a way of writing songs that's settled, or is it still quite different every time? Do you do the lyrics, or?
I think it changes every single time. Like, when I'm writing, I always kind of have a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, or even if I'm like trying to tackle like a really serious matter, I'm always trying to come at it in a very light-hearted way. And like, that's kind of probably the thing that carries on throughout all the songs, but they all start completely different. Like, sometimes it can be just a lyric, sometimes I've got a chord sequence or whatever, and then it's whatever sparks the idea, basically. I've started in lockdown, like I borrowed a laptop off a friend, and it's the first time I've ever been able to record at home, so that's also changing. Like, the songs I've been writing recently, I've never been able to write like this, so I'm now creating full song of music before I've written the lyrics, which I've never done before. I've usually sat there with a guitar and worked it out as I'm going and be like, oh, what should go? And then it's like, I can't do the chorus until I've done this bit. So it's like, usually I'm kind of like working the song out and just finding it. But yeah, this is kind of just write the song and like just see what happens musically and then come back to the lyrics, which it's been quite nice, really.
Yeah, it's good to just mix things up sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, massively.
So how are you doing it on the computer now? Are you like writing a guitar part and recording it and then working out lyrics on top of it, or?
Kind of like starting to reel back at the drums, like literally building it as a full song. And I'm trying to like learn more production and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to find a balance of making them sound good and learn new things about music production and all that stuff, and then not just taking like weeks over a song.
Yeah.
Because like, when I'm learning these new things, I'm like going down little rabbit holes. I'm like, just spent 2 hours looking at a reverb of one thing. That's like, which you got to do these things, but
yeah. I think it's sometimes overlooked, isn't it? A lot of times is how amazingly detailed all of these little steps are, especially as you get into the technology. Any part of kit that you see a musician use, it's a whole other instrument in itself that you then had to master, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like not only like so I would never say I've mastered anything, because I'm pretty terrible at most things. But it's that kind of, you just pick something new up and you can't help but go, oh, what's this? What does this do? What does this do? What does this do? What does it do if I do this? So it's that constant just, you find, and that's the dangerous thing about, now I've got a laptop, so I'm like, right, old man, but I'm like, ooh, I didn't know, you've got so many new sounds literally in front of you, which when you've just sat with a guitar, you don't have. So like, it really do. I've been trying to kind of push myself in genres that I wouldn't usually write, or even like anything. I'm just kind of, whatever happens, I'm doing it. I'm like just not thinking about what's coming out, because that comes for later, I guess.
Yeah. No, that sounds good, man. I'm glad that seems like a good lockdown project as well, to have something like that you can get so stuck into and kind of explore some different avenues of your creativity. Be interested to see what comes out of it.
No, it's been really fun. Like, and some of my favorite songs that I've done in this time period are songs that wouldn't necessarily be like, it doesn't sound like a Marsicans song or whatever. So that's been quite nice.
And how do you feel about that? Do you feel like there's a Marsicans sound that you need to write Marsicans songs that fit that thing, or with Marsicans you feel like you can diversify and do?
Yeah, I think Marsicans has always been a very diverse sound anyway, but I think there's always things that tie it over and give it our sound. I'm not quite sure what that is. It's a combination of a few things that play into it, but I think we're very aware of trying to not just be a band that do the same song over and over again in a different key, because there's quite a lot of people out there, and that's just not interesting to us, because we, like I said before, whenever we're doing a new song, we kind of want to not change genre, because it's all basically indie music, but we want to like just do as much differently as we can, like a new instrument or a complete new set of sounds and stuff like that, just for ourselves. It just keeps it more interesting.
That's it. I can tell just from talking to you about learning new technology, that you've got that kind of curiosity, I guess, for exploring new things.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I think we've always just felt like once we've done, because in rehearsal there might be times where we write a song and it's got like a similar vibe to an older song we've written or a different song, and we're very aware of that, and kind of like we almost will drop that song or completely, like it's got no appeal to us of kind of retreading the same ground. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say like we're some world-defying new music making band, but like it's just for us not doing the exact same thing, like just trying to mix it up as much as we can.
Yeah, it's finding those little sparks in it of like what makes something different.
Yeah,
what keeps it exciting for you in a way, or feels like you've expressed something that's not been expressed in another song.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I don't know, it just keeps it all fresh. And
yeah, I was remember Ben Harper talking about it in an interview, like, from the last few years, and he was saying about with songwriting, he said, I can write songs like Steal My Kisses was the one he mentioned, one of his like hits. He said I could write an album of them now, like I know how to do that.
Yeah,
but that's not what I'm in it for. And that's one of his most famous songs. Like, I could write an album which would probably be very popular of hits, but he said, but as a songwriter, I need to explore, I need to chase these interests rather than just rest on what you know.
Yeah, and like I think because like if your passion is like creating something, and we're not in it for sales, so like I guess if you got like Ben Harper, like he's right, like where he's not going to get creative satisfaction out of just doing the same thing over and over again, because that's not why you write music. You write music to like create something new and like, oh, what's this? So like I guess it's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it seems like what you were saying earlier as well about like a big part of it is for you guys, it's about the experiences of being in the band and playing and the fun of that. Yeah. And if you got too much like, we just want to write songs that fit this template, that takes away so much of that element, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively.
Why you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff, man. Do you want to tell us a bit about your album? Because you've had quite a year with, obviously you've had a lot of disappointments with the South by Southwest and the pandemic, the way it's affected everybody, but you've had an amazing year with the album stuff.
The album came out in August, and it honestly did way better than we thought it was going to do, and especially given we haven't been able to tour and promote it, so we were kind of like blown away by the reception. And that week was a very special week. Like, just the people getting in touch with us and people we'd not spoken to for, you know, a long time and all stuff like that. Yeah, it was just a very, it was a wild week. Like, I remember, I don't think I had like more than 20% kind of focus at any point, because I was kind of doing so much all week, most of it on my laptop, like, you know, just making the week keep happening basically as a group. And yeah, just like, I'd get to the end of the day and, you know, when your mind is gone and you just can't concentrate on anything. I just felt like I was just like, oh, you know, like a war film when a grenade goes off and everyone's like high pitched ringing, and it's just like that. That's kind of what that week felt like, but in a really good way.
So was it the setup, the aim before was you were aiming to get the album in the top 40, was it?
No, we didn't expect to get anywhere near it. Like, we thought maybe top 100 for a laugh, but yeah, when we got the midweeks and it was like near top 40, we kind of, it was, you know, everyone get on board and start selling the album, guys, because we might actually have a shot. And we didn't quite get it, but it was so fun just being even part of the chase. Was a right laugh. We had such a good time. You know, when else do you get to say, like, you know, come on, we're off the charts? Like,
because you just missed out, didn't you? And it was, what was that? So you only unsigned band. Yeah. So like
anywhere
near that.
Yeah. So for us, great achievement. So.
Yeah, it's an amazing achievement, man. And it's great, like, you know, things like that where it shows how much your fans are engaged with it. Yeah, you know, and feel like want to get behind you and stuff like that. It's always great to see when there's that much community spirit.
It was very nice because, like you say, given this year as well, when you just kind of sat at home in your room and your only kind of indication is how well things are going on social media. What an awful way to judge your existence. So, like, to have kind of a week of not like, you know, it sounds like I wanted everyone to go, well done, your album's so good. And it wasn't that. But it was nice to have that after 6 months of not knowing what's going on. So, like, you know, we all kind of absorbed as much good vibes as we could that week, I think.
Yeah. And I know people who like
keep me going for a while.
Yeah. And I know people who were, you know, big supporters of it and how much they enjoyed, you know, being a part of it. It was, you know, it's a real kind of good news story, isn't it, you know, local, especially people locally anyway.
Yeah, I had friends like messaging me going like, I enjoyed the scrap. Like, they felt they were part of it with us. And like, that's what it was. Like, everyone was just like, up the cans, get like, we loved it.
Yeah, I like the expression, the scrap of it.
Yeah. It was a proper scrap as well.
Yeah, and I like the nickname, the Cans.
Up the cans, man.
Up the cans, yeah, it's good, man. Good stuff. Let's move into section 2 now, shall we? This is where I ask my guests to share with us a songwriting tip. So what would your tip be first, James?
I'm going to give you two, because I'm going to give you one that I would think is a tip that I will give, and then two is one that I'm going to say to try and drill it in my own head a bit more, because it's something I need to keep doing. But number one is always just be aware of when you're in public or when you're just kind of just always be listening to what people are saying, because the amount of song titles or just absolute gem of one-liners that I've picked up that I would never have been able to write in my life, and then you just hear someone say it off the cuff and you're like, that is brilliant, that's the line I've been looking for, you know. And yeah, so in Sunday, the song that was on before, there's a bit it's just some love story shit, is like the pre-chorus, and that was my friend's dad who said that. And it was like, he's probably a character, I love the guy, and I went round like, oh, what you watching? And he said, oh, I don't know, it's just some love story shit. And I just love that kind of, it absolutely hit the nail on the head of just the kind of, like, everyone loves love, basically. And like, but then also it's looked at with this kind of, it was almost a bit embarrassed of it, and like, but like still watching it, and it was just this kind of, he absolutely nailed that kind of. And I thought for that song, like the missing someone at home and like having a great time, it's like, should I be feeling that? And it's a bit like, it's just some love story shit, like playing it off as something, but it's sort of, I felt like it's something everyone can relate to. And it's, for me, it's like you get those kind of nuggets from just listening to people out in public, and you get, like, I often try and like distill big things down into like really small, simple concepts, which like like make big grandiose things like everyday occurrences and just little, you know, kind of understated almost. And I got a bit carried away then. Where am I going with this?
Yeah, no, it's really good.
No, but yeah, so I think a lot of people in public just say these things without often thinking. And when you're sat there with a pen or on your laptop trying to write about a certain thing, you might, because you're trying sometimes to think so hard about it, you just can't see the wood for the trees. But then, yeah, I've got so many lines just on my phone that I've heard in public, just waiting for the perfect moment to be used. And for me, it started off so many ideas of songs, just what I've heard. So yeah, be aware of your surroundings, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really good. And I think you're right that a lot of the time it's like if you have a concept or an idea, you can try writing, and sometimes you'll stumble across a really good way of writing as well. But sometimes when you hear someone say it, you know, it's like then putting that in the song, that's actually how someone says it. Yeah. And that's,
perfect. Like, and even if you've got loads of one-liners, which I do, just from what I've heard, if you're having a day where you can't think of anything, you've just got all this stuff, and it's, even if it doesn't give you that much, it's a starting point, or it's an idea, and it's free ideas, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. You just, free ideas.
Yeah. It's like a songwriting charity thing. People like donate ideas, but they don't realise they're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've just got to be there to pick them up.
Exactly that. And then I'd say tip number 2, which I'm going to say to try and force myself, is when I'm writing demos and stuff at the moment, I need to remind myself that when I'm writing the demo, it's not the final song. And I could, if I reminded myself that all the time, I could write way more songs. But I kind of get I find it hard to just go, that'll do, even though I know it's only temporary. So I'm trying to get out myself into the habit of just going, yeah, that's fine for a demo. It's fine. It gets the point of the song across. It's not terrible, but yeah, right, you might not release that tomorrow recorded that way. But I'm just trying to really speed up the writing process. So that's something I need to really do, because you're not writing the final song. You're writing what the song could be. And I think being in the moment of writing the song is potentially more important than bedding yourself down on, what's this verse melody going to do at this bit? You got the bulk of it. It's kind of, all right, keep the train going. What else you got? So I'm trying to do that, but I'm not the best at it.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think it's easy to lose that spark of what you're actually chasing when you start thinking about recording. Is the red light syndrome thing, isn't it? Of
I was working on one last week, and started off out the gates flying, and then I laid down the bass and the guitar part, and I was like, what if I change this bit? I spent 2 hours just trying to change a verse guitar part. And it's a demo. What am I doing? Just the first, and it didn't even change that much. That was the thing. I was like, whatever I'm changing these things, it's only slightly. So it's spent 2 hours. All right, it was better, but did it need to be that much better for 2 hours work whilst you're just doing a demo? So that's what I'm trying to speed myself up doing. And then
do you have it in separate things? When you're in that creative mindset, I always found I'd have spurts where I'd be just focused on the creative stuff and trying to just get things rough and out. And then I'd have another stage where I'd think about, I'm editing today, so I'm going back, I'm going to review what I came up with the other day. And that's where I try and make those changes. But for me, it was very useful having a different mindset. And not wanting to stifle that creativity when it's going, when I'm right, this is the thing, doing it, I was going to cut this. And then if I'd stopped you, try not to question it too much in that moment.
Yeah, I do sometimes do that, but sometimes like I say, because I'm trying to do the learning about production as well at the moment. So, for example, the other day I just thought I'd play around. There's this bass sound, and I'll put some this reverb plugin on it, but really messed it up. And then I spent about 20 minutes making it not sound like a bass guitar, basically, and making it sound completely different. But after that 15-20 minutes, it kind of informed the rest of the song, that sound. And I was like, thank God I did that, because it just making that one sound that didn't exist before just went, oh, that's the rest of the song then. And I bloody love it when that happens, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Are you still managing to write as a band at all during this? Like, are you sending demos onto them, and are they sending stuff back? Or
Like as soon as I bounce one off, we just send it. We just send it into the group chat and go, have a go on that, lads.
nice.
But, like, I think for all of it's been like that, like up and down through, you know, all this, because sometimes you're feeling it, sometimes you're just not, because, you know, confined to your house, it's hard to always feel inspired, really.
Yeah.
But
I find it hard, like, being as motivated by working to a recording as, you know, like getting together with the band and playing in that room is just, that's part of the magic, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. We did when the album came out, we did like some live performances of the songs, and it was the first time we played live in about 6 months, and it honestly felt like I was 16 again. Just and it was that excitement of just being in a room playing guitar with other people. It wasn't lost on me, and it was really nice. I was like, oh, the purity of why I enjoy this is still there. That's good. Nice. Very important.
Where did you do them? Were the live performances that, or were they just in the studio?
Yeah, we did them with our producer, who's got a studio, and we just did it there, and got a good live setup. So
nice. Yeah, hopefully it won't be too long before. Did I see you've got some gigs booked for next year?
Well, I'm booked for April, yeah, but
April.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, let's move into section 3 now. This is where I ask my guests to share with us a song that's meaningful in some way relating to bereavement. And what I do here is I put the link in the description to this episode. So if you're watching or listening, you don't know the song, you want to go listen to it, follow that link, come back to us. We're going to have a bit of a chat about it. So what song did you choose for us, James?
I chose Death Cab for Cutie, I Will Follow You Into the Dark.
Yeah, it's a powerful song. I hadn't heard it before.
It's one of those songs where I don't know about you, I don't know if most people do, but like when I'm feeling sad, I like to listen to really sad songs, and like it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Don't know how that works. Like sad plus sad equals feel better to me.
Misery loves company, yeah.
So like it's just one song where I just think if I could have written that song, I mean, pretend the Beatles don't exist for a minute. If I could have written any song, like that is just, to me, it's just perfection. And I think it beautifully sums up the time we spend on this planet and the people that you interact with, and how much, I don't know, it's just heartbreaking, but in so many nice ways as well. Like it's so heartbreaking, but it kind of manages to do it in a way that gives you a hug. And I think that's like the most beautiful thing that music can do. Like it's just it's fast. It blows my mind every time I hear that song, and any cover version of it as well. I love it. I'm just like, give me this song in my ears.
Yeah, it's powerful. I guess it kind of walks that line, like you were saying with Sunday as well, where it's got that kind of dual thing to which a lot of great love songs do, where it's you know, because it's got a very sad element to it, hasn't it? About, you know, what's the first two lines? It doesn't mess around, does it? It gets straight to the point of
love of mine. Someday you will die.
Yeah.
Behind.
No, it's not going to ease you in, is it? It's just boom, here we go.
But, like, the imagery of the song is just so like verses talking back to like when they were younger, and just all of it. And for me, like one of the most beautiful thing about, sounds so deep right now, but you know, here we go. Like how much someone can love someone, like, and the whole, like when someone dies and how often like they're heartbroken and then die themselves, like that is such a beautiful thing, but like it shouldn't be. Do you know? Like it's an awful thing, but like it's kind of the most poetic thing you could ever think of. Like someone loves someone that much, like it's heartbreaking but beautiful at the same time. And it's one of the real, well, it's why we're all here, isn't it, basically, on this planet. It's all you do. You love, you die, you live, whatever. But that happens to most people. Well, it happens to everyone, basically. It's the only thing that happens to everyone. So it's like the most ultimate shared experience that everyone can have. And it's such a kind of profound experience for everyone that it's the subject matter itself, like, holds so much weight. It's like, I think that's why it's such a good song, because it could so easily be, it's like discussing something so kind of universal. It could easily just do it in a way it's like, oh, what's that? That's a bit. But yeah, it just, Ooh, nailed it.
Yeah, man. And it's that that I guess, at that point at the end of someone's life, but having that relationship that means that much to someone, like you were saying, there's ones where couples that pass so quickly together. Like Johnny Cash and June Carter were like that, weren't they? They weren't within a few months of each other.
Yeah.
But
He
like
he did that Hurt song, didn't he? After she died,
she was
before she died.
Yeah, because she's in the video, and she. But yeah, I don't think it was long before. But yeah, and that having a life where you've had that connection with someone, that kind of love that's lasted that long, and that then it's sad that how devastating it is for someone when they do lose someone, but also it's kind of like the flip side is you're fortunate to have had a love that's that deep and that long lasting,
like,
that it means that much to lose.
Yeah, like you wouldn't trade that for the world, despite you knowing how heartbreaking it's going to be. Like, I think not downplaying death, because it's a very similar thing, but I think something with pets people struggle with is they love pets so much, but because they don't live that long, they can't handle that heartbreak of losing something they love so much. And obviously humans live a lot longer, so that's why I'm saying pets, because only because someone said recently to me, I don't want to get a dog because I couldn't handle if it died. And I was like, but you get so much enjoyment out of and like love from that thing for so many years, like, but I don't know, I guess how much people can handle that personally as well, because everyone has very different ways of dealing with it.
Yeah, and I always thought of it as a trade-off. Like I had a dog when I was younger that obviously died, and like obviously I was devastated when he died, but we had like 10 great years or so where I had this great companion and all these. So like, would I trade those 10 years of companionship and all that good time for the the difficulty of losing him? But then also it's like you have that difficulty of losing them, but then you still have the happy memories of so like you get all that joy there, and then you also have all the joy of the memories.
Well, man, it's better to have loved and lost, isn't it? Like,
that's it. Wise words.
Yeah. I said that, remember?
We'll quote that. That'll be on the post for this.
But we've, I think I should probably mention one of our songs, "Gone in a Second," which was, I think, like a very early single of ours. That was actually about my nana died, and then my granddad died, and then a month later my nana died, but like different side of the family. And then like, so "Gone in a Second" is written about that basically, but presented in a very poppy, upbeat way. Yeah. But like that took probably, I don't know, like a year and a half to write, because I was just never happy with it. And like, that was very odd. I'm glad I did. And like, I'm so happy with how it turned out. And I think that's why I took so long with it, because I wanted to make sure I was like, I'm happy with this. Yeah. And what was that like writing then? Did you start it like just after the losses, or was it a while afterwards when it settled? And did you have an idea of how you wanted to, how the song wanted to be? Not really. I had no idea. It was just kind of, I'd pick up my notepad and then just see what happened. But like, there was so many just crossings outs and little bits of just like I can't even remember how long. Like, it took a long time, but there was it wasn't something I kept purposely, like pick that up and write that. It was just, I knew that whenever I was in a certain mindset, I'd go back to it. And I think that's why I was just like, just take your time, don't rush yourself. Whenever you want to write something on it, like do it then. So that's kind of how I approached that one. Yeah, sounds like a good way to do it, with something with that kind of emotional weight to it. Is that song available online somewhere? Can people? Yeah, it's on our Spotify, YouTube, anywhere. Yeah. Cool. I'll put a link for that in the description as well, so people can check that one out. Cool. Thanks a lot for your time, James. Really nice to talk to you. No worries, man. Good to chat. Yeah, and well done on all the success this year, and hopefully you'll be back out touring soon. Is there anything else you want to mention when you're on? Is there anything coming up? No, just keep writing tunes. Yeah, I'll tag all the social media pages and that on here so people can come follow you, follow the cans. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, up the cans. Up the cans. Good stuff, man. Thanks for your time. Cheers, man. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll be back with another episode soon.